Free gaming computer. That is right, guys. I've been a little bit of a wheeler dealer, and I have managed to bag us not one, but two free gaming computers. Because I have teamed up with the lovely guys over at Be Quiet, who are sponsoring this video, as well as the not quite so lovely guy over at eTechnics. That sounds a bit mean. I love you, Andy. And this video is going to be an incredibly fun one because we're actually exploring current used gaming PC parts. Be Quiet have been lovely enough to not only sponsor this video, but they're also providing a £1,000 budget in addition to the parts they've provided to actually get our gaming PC to look like a gaming PC. So we're going to be exploring all sorts of avenues, from your eBay to your Facebook Marketplace, pretty much anywhere that we can get hold of used PC parts and get better value than buying new. Well, that's what we're going to do. And both of the computers that we do build, we are giving away at the end of the video. So make sure you stay to the end so you don't miss it. But the rules of the competition are pretty simple. We both have an identical 500X case, whereas mine is white, his is black. And then we have a few different parts from Be Quiet, some pretty reliable power supplies, an 850 watt FM power supply that's very new. We have ourselves a water cooler. This one is the Purelip 240. I picked this over the air cooler, but Andy will be using that. And then we have the fans that I'm actually using in my personal system. These are the Light Wings from Be Quiet, so they pretty much combine the best of silence and performance with some RGB lighting. I love these things. Let's get shopping. First things first then, what sort of PC can we actually build for this budget? It's definitely going to be very price to performance. I think we're going to be targeting maybe 1440p high refresh rate here. I know this is a little bit of shameless promotion, but I'm going to find my last PC build, which was a couple of months ago, and then having a look at what we managed to achieve before when we were buying new, around about £1,500. So bearing in mind that we do already have our case, power supply and cooler, this is actually going to be a pretty good target. I mean, the graphics card we were using here was an RTX 3060 Ti. So let's start on eBay and we look for an RTX 3060 Ti. This could be a good bet. Zotac 3060 Ti, £400, 35 minutes left. RTX 3070, £520. In terms of value, the 3060 Ti is clearly going to give us the best overall price to performance, but if we do have the budget, then a 2080 Ti or 3070 do perform quite similarly. But of course, the 2080 Ti is an older card, so will it keep its value for as long? I'm not sure. Plus, it's obviously had a lot more time gaming, so in terms of reliability, it's probably going to be less reliable than a newer card. Let's have a look at AMD options. 6700. How about that look? I think this could be a good way to go, you know. New listing, pre-owned, 6700. Not really any pictures, which isn't a great sign. To be fair, the 6700 XT and the 3060 Ti are actually very similar in terms of outright performance. Now, I'm actually in two minds about this because the original idea was that it was going to be £1,000 budget plus all of the components that Be Quiet had provided. But that's what Andy's going to do, and I think it's going to be more beneficial to everybody here if I try and stick under that £1,000. If I still beat Andy's performance, that will be amazing. But I think all I'll be doing, if I want to stick under that budget, will just be buying a better graphics card. I don't actually think that's going to teach us anything. And of course, it will mean that you have Andy's video to watch if you do want to spend a little bit more. But let's try and do this under budget. Quick change of scenery as I now walk the dog. I've actually gone for a more local listing, a 6700 XT, and I've managed to get it for, how much is it? £350. £350. I'm going to go pick it up now, or at least after this, so let's hope I don't get killed. Pretty epic backdrop though. We made it just about. It has started raining, but here we have our ASUS Dual 6700 XT. I did check that it works. That is the fundamental thing. I've seen it. On to the next component. And here it is. In the flesh, our RX 6700 XT. I would say it's survived the rain, but I suppose technically we don't know yet. This is ASUS's dual variant of the 6700 XT, which definitely isn't the highest end one you can go. You can get like 3 fans and loads of thickness, but this still has a very large heatsink on it, and I don't think we're gonna run into too many issues with thermals or acoustics. The main thing is that this and the whole system actually works. So the Be Quiet parts will come to £360. I also think I'm gonna be cheeky and just use one pack of the fans. That will give us 50 quid of our budget back. So we can knock our fans down to 48. Z490 motherboard, let's have a look. Asus Prime Z490, £90. Tomahawk, £90. We will go for the Tomahawk motherboard and just hope that it is as they describe. Let's make an offer on the CPU. Let's go for £107.50. 16 gigabytes of RGB RAM offer £40. That'll be good, because it's fast, 3600 megahertz is what I want. Then it just leaves the SSD. Our budget is around about £50 or so. It's only gonna be Gen 3. Don't go for Gen 4 because you can't use it with the motherboard anyway and the CPU combination. Gen 3 is fine. This one I believe is 3400 megahertz. Megahertz? What's wrong with me today? 3400 megabytes a second on the reads and 2500 on the writes. So it's going to be more than fast enough for your gaming PC. I think all that's left to do now is actually wait for these offers to come in and see if we can make the purchases and wait for the actual stuff to arrive in the studio. I don't think this is actually going to look that dramatic because it's only a few different bits and bobs. Inside this bag is our Intel 10500 CPU. I'm not too sure about the packaging. Intel wouldn't send it out like this, but if it works, it works. Oh God, oh no. Oh, it's in toilet paper, oh lovely. There it is. This definitely wouldn't work if it was a Ryzen CPU or any that uses a PG array formation. It says 10500 on it. That's our CPU. Our SSD is brand new, so this definitely should work. The RAM, I did have to negotiate a little bit and the person just didn't want to negotiate at all. But I did get a real bargain with this, and I've seen this quite a few times before actually. Any of the slightly lesser brands, the things that aren't your Corsairs, your Be Quiets, anything really, tends to go quite cheap on eBay, especially when it comes to RAM. So this is some stuff from XPG, is the infamous water-cooled one. And of course the water doesn't really do anything because it's not circulating the heat anywhere. It absorbs a little bit, but then that's about it. But for two 8GB DIMMs for a total of 16 running at 3600 megahertz, £47, pretty darn tasty. The final piece is the motherboard, and a reminder, this is a Z490 motherboard. It's the Mag Tomahawk from MSI. I think motherboards tend to keep their value quite well because this was probably around about 175, 180 pounds, so 97 used for something that is what, 2 to 3 years old? But yeah, certainly looks okay to me. This will support our CPU. Let's hope our pins are intact. Yeah, can't see any issues on that. This one was purchased from eBay, so you are going to be protected by their purchase guarantee. If you get something that doesn't work, then you'll get your money back. But of course, if you get something from Facebook Marketplace, then there are no warranties. It's a bit of a Wild West. Just make sure, like we did with a graphics card, that you actually see it working before you part with any money. But let's get this thing built up and see if it works, shall we? We'll do the usual thing of putting our motherboard on top of the box, opening up our CPU sockets. I wouldn't usually remove the cover, but today I like to play a little bit dangerously. We will grab our CPU and just gently drop this down into place. Fix it down. Whack our RAM into the slots. Yeah, maybe red wasn't the best idea, but it was the best value. Come on, cut me some slack. Maybe you could take it apart and spray paint just the red. That's a video for another day. Grab a smaller size screwdriver and we can start to install our SSD. Protective peel. Here is our solid state drive then, single-sided because it's only 500 gigabytes. I would say cheap and cheerful. It's not like it's stupidly cheap, but £47 for 500 gig of Gen 3 storage is pretty good. You can buy used, but I just don't trust it. I guess as long as you're willing to smart test it and to actually see what the reads and writes are and how much life the drive has left. I'm not totally poo-pooing the idea. I'm just not super comfortable with it personally. Have I lost a screw? Oh dear. Yes. Open up our Be Quiet case, the old 500DX. I have had a cheeky little chat with Andy, just to sort of tease what I'm doing, and turns out he's told me he's actually bought a white motherboard, so we probably should have swapped cases. But there you go, that's just the way it rolls sometimes. This isn't gonna look bad anyway. I just prefer the look of the black variant. It's not like it's a super cheap motherboard either. IO shield is already attached. Screw in the motherboard. And then we do have our chassis, I was going to say completed then, but our gaming PC sort of roots in place. You can see black and white theme. It is going to work. It is just that red RAM that looks perhaps a tiny bit odd. Please don't hold it against me. Do you really want to spend £20 to not have that colour? Actually, don't answer that. We'll then move on to our cooler. I suppose this will actually come with the somewhat unexpected benefit that you won't have to buy any thermal paste because it will come with the cooler as it's new. And I didn't know this, but with the Be Quiet coolers, you actually get some coolant top-up if you ever need to. Traditionally you don't, but in like a couple of years' time, gives you that little bit of peace of mind that you're never gonna sort of run dry. It's not something I've seen before though. So here it is. Be Quiet Pure Loop. This is the 240 version, but obviously you can get a bigger one for this if you want to go down that route. Really don't think there's going to be a big deal for the 10500. You could probably go for a much cheaper air cooler if you want and save yourself around about £30 or so. But I mean, this is going to look better and it is going to give you more performance. I say performance, it's just going to be a bit quieter. Install the fans on your radiator. Take out the 140 in the roof. Slide this in there. Fix it down. Grab our back plate. Push this through the hole. Spaces. Screw those in. Then you've got the rest of the mounting hardware just to sit on top and screw down. Would have been easier if I'd done this before I'd put it in the case. Tube of thermal compound, reasonable amount in the middle. That should do. Then grab your pump head, make sure you've removed the little protective stickery thing. Then just line that up with the screw holes and fix it into place. That is pretty straightforward. Be Quiet also make it quite easy to plug this in because you've got a couple of different options. You've got fan headers, or for the pump, you can actually use this SATA splitter. So if you don't want to use fan headers, you've not got enough, you can always divert to SATA power. We have our fans at the front to swap out. This should just pull off, like that. Maybe do it with more care than that. Remove the dust filter, old fan out. And then new fans with our lovely RGB, very much in. As we press onto the power supply, you may have noticed I've had to take the radiator out, and that's because there just isn't enough room at the top here to get all of those tiny weedy cables in. Tiny weeny cables in. I seem to have forgotten how to speak. But no matter, as we press onto the Pure Power 11 fully modular, we can do my quick little hack. That is to get the CPU power connection and plug this in now and then connect it to the power supply later. We'll grab the one that says CPU, plug this in here at the top, and then just feed it round the back. And then this can go back into its proper position. We can then fetch our power supply out of the bag. This is what I mean by fully modular. Everything connects here, unlike on cheaper power supplies where they're already connected. Saves you a bit of money, but this is always neater. Around the back, our computer's looking a little bit like this. Plug our two CPU connectors in, then add our PCIe for the graphics card, ATX for the motherboard, and then SATA power for the case and for the radiator, or the pump for the radiator, I should say. Move that down into place. Oh, it's one of these. I'm really not on form today, I'm just not paying attention. I've got everything plugged in, but as you can see, it's starting to get a little bit on the messy side. But we will swing this round back to normal, and then we can grab our second-hand graphics card. We will slide this into place, push it in. It's actually looking quite well themed. You've got a little bit of a silver accent on this graphics card, and that sort of ties in with the rest of the build. Silver, white, black, not bad. Grab our power cables for the graphics card that I've fed through. There we go, that's one, and that's two. And then that, my friends, is our used PC done and hopefully working. Let's grab ourselves a monitor. This is LG's GP950 that they helpfully provided for benchmarking. Keyboard and mouse. Lots and lots of stress. And then I guess the moment of truth. Well, it's on. And we've got some lovely RGB action. There's quite a lot actually on this case. And of course you've got the RGB memory, RGB at the top, and then the RGB fans. But are we going to get a signal on screen? It's turned off, but turned on again. Could be a good sign. Could also be a bad one. I mean, that is not what I wanted. We'll try again though, hoping that it is going to be that the monitor wasn't on, because sometimes that can be a bit of a red herring and you can miss things. Literally, what did I just say? It would be very easy to think that the PC wasn't working then because we weren't getting a display output, but because the monitor wasn't on DisplayPort at the time we turned the PC on, it didn't show up. I mean, otherwise, it looks like we're good. Our Intel 10500, so it is legit. 16 gigabytes of RAM, storage, yes. SanDisk Extreme Pro, banging! I think there's a button on the front as well to cycle through the RGB lighting. I mean, I'll stand by the fact that I would probably rather have the black version of this case, but considering, I think it's come out really nicely actually. This is definitely not a low-end system by any stretch of the imagination. Not in terms of specs, not in terms of looks, and not in terms of noise levels. I know we're not doing any gaming at the moment, but nothing. The BIOS is fairly recent. We've got above 4G memory. We can enable this, type in bar, resizable bar support. We can enable that, gives ourselves a little bit more frame rate. And then we'll try the XMP profile. We can't, of course, overclock because our CPU is the 10500, it's not a K, but we can increase the power limits, I believe, and pretty much just try and get as much performance out of this as possible. And XMP and resizable bar are also very good things to do to actually achieve that. There we go. 3600 megahertz. I think we're ready to install Windows, get some games on this, and take it to Andy's. eTechnics, I'm coming to get you. We're here, we're doing the fake walk-in. I've already been in this room once, but you don't know that.
I'm here. Fancy seeing you here.
I know, it's amazing. And I have a computer. How did it go? In a sentence, we don't have all day.
Swimmingly well.
Swimmingly well.
Swimmingly
When you spill water on it?
I wanted to put everything into the graphics card, and that's why I think I've got you beat. What about you? How did it go for you?
I think visually could be improved.
Did you go all used or a little bit used?
Pretty much, just the SSD I think is new.
Ah, I went slightly different. Let's look at yours first.
You want to look at mine first?
I want to look at yours first, yeah.
Right. Ta-da!
Okay, okay. Visually, I think that looks pretty decent.
It's just the red RAM.
Is it actually red?
Yeah, but you could spray it.
Yeah.
But I got a great deal on that. It's 3600 megahertz,
Yep.
16 gig,
Yep.
£47.
Just based on that, I've got you beat. Just on the memory.
Okay.
I don't know about the rest of it. So what else have we got in here?
So graphics card,
Yep.
6700 XT,
Okay.
350 quid.
That's not bad.
The CPU is a
Yep.
10500,
Okay.
so that must be a Z4. Is it 470 or 4?
Yeah, 490.
It is 490.
Yeah, Z490. Yeah.
I was getting
then
looks.
11th. Yeah, 11th gen was Z590. Yeah.
Yeah, that did get a good deal on that. Could have gone cheaper.
Yep.
But here's the catch. This is where I think I got you beat.
Okay.
I decided, little curveball,
Yep.
this whole PC, including the case, the power supply, the fans, everything, is under £1,000.
Okay. Okay. I went over with the Be Quiet.
That
so,
was
okay.
the original plan, but I thought,
Yep.
I'm interested to see what you would do. And then it gives other people a chance to watch your video as well, so
Yeah.
it's two budgets.
Yeah.
I'm breaking the rules.
So for anyone who doesn't know, the whole plan was we had £1,000 budget, and then we had the Be Quiet parts on top of that. But okay.
Because then
This-
I couldn't lose, you see.
This could be very, very interesting because I can tell you mine is more powerful.
Yeah.
It is newer, but it's going to cost you more money. And the whole point of this, I guess, really is to show what is achievable for around £1,000, let's say.
Shall we look at yours?
Yeah, let's look at mine. Okay, so my build. As I mentioned, I went a little bit different in terms of I just spent pretty much all the money.
The question, I guess, is going to be, if this is, say, £200, £250 more expensive,
Is it worth it?
how much better is it possibly going to be?
Of course. So, do you want to see it? Here we go.
Ta-da. Yeah, see, that definitely looks better than mine, 100%. And you've gone for NVIDIA.
Yep.
Looks very similar motherboard.
Yep.
That looks good. Although, controversial decision, he has gone for a Micro ATX motherboard.
I have, but for a very, very good reason. So that motherboard is an MSI B550M mortar.
Okay, so you've gone Ryzen as well. Completely the opposite to Intel and
Again,
AMD.
more choice, right? I got that motherboard, 40 quid.
40 quid, wow.
Yeah. And then the memory, you know I said I had you beat on the memory?
Yeah.
That's HyperX.
Yeah.
It's RGB, of course.
Yeah. Loads more fans.
3600 megahertz, 20 quid.
How did you get that for 20 quid?
So, there was a guy locally, Facebook Marketplace.
Suspicious. Very suspicious.
I will put up all the screenshots of the chat. So I actually bought a new CPU. I got a 5600X.
Even new. This is a used PC challenge.
Everyone who wanted to sell their 5600X was selling them for about the same price as a new one. So in my eyes, it made more sense to buy a new one, get the warranty, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I've got a 500 gig WD SN850 Gen 4 drive, no bottlenecking. Graphics card, that is where it all matters, right?
Yeah.
RTX 3080. From eBay,
But they were like £1,000.
£667. So my whole planning behind this, because I knew that we were going to be benchmarking these as well, side by side, I wanted the 5600X and I wanted the 3080 so I could enable resizable bar.
Okay.
And give me that extra performance there as well.
I mean, I do feel a little bit deflated, I'll be honest. I knew it was going to be better, but 3080 better. Yeah. I just assumed you'd have 3070. It is suspicious though, isn't it? It is very suspicious. Is your computer quiet?
Actually, I don't know. I'd say they're about on par.
They're about the same. The systems are being quiet.
I know this is my studio, but yeah.
Should we look at performance? We're back, and we've learned that Andy didn't want to pay £2 for the DLC. Cheapskate. This is going to be an interesting test though, because this is actually SSD speed as well as graphics.
Yep.
So if we click at the same time, you've got a Gen 4 SSD.
I have. SN850, so 7,300 megabytes a second, I think it is on the read speed.
I do not.
Yep.
But how much is it going to matter? You've got a better CPU and an SSD. I honestly don't think you're going to beat me by much time at all.
I mean, I'd argue a better system overall, but I did spend more money.
Much more money. Your graphics card was basically double what I spent. So you're in.
Yep. I'm in 139, 154 frames per second. I'm happy with that.
And I am lagging behind. Not that far behind though.
I don't know, I've been here for a while. So yeah, what are you getting frame rate wise?
Bear in mind this is at 4K, high settings, 122 FPS.
Okay, 222 is the current.
Do you need that though? This is a 60Hz monitor.
Yeah, true.
But overall for the money, I genuinely think I win that one.
I'm going to let the people decide. I'm going to stay neutral, let's say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, 4K absolute max settings, I'm getting 90 FPS here.
90, okay. So 4K max settings, we get out the dark because, I mean, I'm already winning now. 125.
It's dropped to 80.
118, 116. I mean, I would just admit defeat right now.
No, I don't think so, because again, you paid double for the graphics card and you're not getting double the FPS. You're basically getting the same as me. Right, swap it to 1440p, please. Okay. I'm just about maxed out. Look, 143, but it does dip to 140.
Yeah, I got 140.
Oh yeah, whoa, I saw a dip. 130.
I jumped in the air. I jumped in the air. I mean, if you jumped in the air, you'd probably get the same.
No, look, that's fine, look.
Jumping in the air again. No,
look.
Actually, it's steady now, 143. It's not even moving.
So this is evidence now we're getting the same frame rate. I know there's a frame rate cap on the game. Yeah. However, 1440p, these PCs are just as good.
In this one title. Yes.
Yeah, 2 titles, I've won now. 2 for 2.
Do you agree with that? I don't.
What next? Valorant?
Yeah.
Because I know you're going to win the last test.
Never played Valorant in my life.
Because Andy's not a proper gamer, here he is doing the tutorial because he's never played Valorant, because he's a chump. Once again, I don't think your PC is remotely necessary. 4K, no one is going to play this game at 4K. Nope. 250 FPS, you're getting 380?
Yeah, 350 to 380.
So I suppose if you did want to play competitively on Samsung's new 240Hz monitor at 4K, this is going to be clearly the better choice. But for everybody else, either of these two systems, absolutely fine. So I think that's 3-0, Andy.
I don't even know. How did you do at maths at school?
I got better value for money.
But I stuck within the budget.
So you bought the Tesco Finest stuff, and it wasn't that nice. I stuck with like the normal brand, and it was just as good.
No.
So this is the one that I'm not really looking forward to, which is Far Cry with ray tracing.
Yeah, you're gonna lose.
I've got ray tracing.
Not much of it, but yeah. No, I'll give you that. You've got ray accelerators. I've got RT cores, so...
How much did Nvidia pay you?
Nothing. Have you seen my relationship that I've got with Nvidia?
I thought you were going to storm this test.
Right.
What's that? You've only got 10 gig of VRAM. I've got 12.
We're putting ray tracing on? Yeah. Good luck with your memory.
Ready?
Ready? Steady.
Cook.
Oh, that stuttered.
It did.
That did start. Look at that drop.
I mean, this is a test that I'm sure you're going to win. But even so, you're on 83 FPS and I'm on 66. So yeah. I think this is probably an AMD optimized title. I'd like to point out as well, we did choose the games before we knew what we were going to do.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm dead. Oh, that was horrible.
Oh, you are getting some dips. I mean, let's look at the averages. 62 on yours, 84 on mine.
That might be CPU related. Because obviously
potentially
10500 is not quite up to the level as yours.
I'd say that's builder related in the fact that you went for the wrong parts in comparison to my system.
I think once again, 10 FPS, 15 FPS difference.
I mean,
£300 more money. So we've dropped down to 1440, let's go. I think actually once it's loaded in...
But still, look at where you're starting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm higher. Look at the minimum.
I'm higher than you!
Okay.
Oh my, I don't believe it.
Wow.
This would actually be amazing if I beat you. That would actually be amazing.
I don't know why mine's dropped down so much now.
Oh, it's because user error. I am surprised though, bear in mind that this is a ray tracing title, that yours is not storming ahead. I think it's just because it's an AMD not made by AMD, but
Geared
like,
towards AMD.
yeah, AMD optimized title.
So yeah, and I still won.
84 to 89.
Yeah. I mean, minimum 69, 72. We have to talk about the minimums. That is such an important thing that people kind of dismiss.
Okay. I mean, all in all, I would definitely say your system is better. We know that.
Yep.
You have won in terms of performance. You have won
The end. We should just end the video there.
in terms of looks.
Yeah.
But I think the two systems in the games that we tested were actually a lot closer together than
It was
I
closer
would have
than I thought, and I think it was closer than you thought. I would agree, aesthetically, this looks better.
This would look incredible if you went for a white motherboard, white components. You could even like water cool it like with white fluid. Think how good that would look.
There's a few things I'm glad that I've got. Wi-Fi and things like that. I've just got that extra functionality, extra future-proofing with Gen 4, them kind of things. But I did pay more for it.
What this proves is that there are some really good bargains out there. You just have to know where to look.
I guess the beauty now is 2 people are actually going to win these as well.
Yeah, these are going to be given away. There'll be 2 separate links down in the description below. It'll be very clear which one is which. Feel free to enter both. You don't have to choose. That's the beauty of it. It's pretty much going to be enter via social media. All should be very clear. Follow the instructions below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Smash the like button and get subscribed for more just like this. Do go and check out Andy's channel and of course Andy's video. And I'll see you, or we'll see you, in the next one. Can we just get out of here now? I'm done, mate.